Binyam, Sisay. I'm from Ethiopia, and currently I am based in the United Arab Emirates, Sharjah. I'm a faculty at Global Studies University and the institute called within it the Africa Institute. It's one of the institutes, a postgraduate and a research institute that studies and documents and teaches about the people and cultures of Africa and the African diaspora. And I'm a linguist by profession. I have been based at Addis Ababa University, Ethiopia, for many years. It's only 3 years ago that I moved here. And I am also interested in science leadership, science and policy interface. These are some of the areas that I'm interested in as well, to collaborate with scientists and researchers from the continent and internationally. I am now a member of the a fellow of the International Science Council. And as part of that work, I'm also involved as a governing board member of the International Network for Governmental Science Advice, which is based in New Zealand, but also having networks in many places. And then with ASLP, I'm a cohort of the founding fellow, kind of in 2015. I was one of the 20 fellows that were selected for the first program. And then after that, I was involved with a mentorship program for the next fellows. And then after that, I joined also the steering committee of the program. And I was a member of the steering. I am still a member of the steering committee, and I was also involved as a facilitator for some of the workshops. So it's been such an exciting journey to see, from starting from being a fellow and involved as a mentorship and meeting all these great minds from the continent and elsewhere. So it's been an honor. African Science Leadership Program, it's one of those programs that really impacted me deeply, personally, but also, about my work in many ways. Because you are used to getting, this very useful workshops, you attend workshops, you present in workshops. I went to the program expecting the similar types of workshops, which are very useful in many ways. But I never expected that I will go into a workshop which is going to transform my work and my life, and impact it in a very meaningful and in a very deep way. So I went to attend, one of those useful workshops, but I found it to be, very much life-changing, very much transformative in many ways. So I'm really privileged to be part of that first cohort, and then which also set the tone for all the other workshops that to come over the years. So one of the amazing things about it is, especially with concepts like leadership and connections and your work, I was really amazed and impressed, still very much affected by the kind of ownership that, the program gave us. In the sense, especially these types of change, it has to be internal, it has to be driven from inside. So I was really struck that, we all came from different parts of the continent, some even from outside, but working on different countries in different institutions and studying different issues. And for the program to bring all these people, all the scientists and researchers together, and to create some kind of experience that's very impactful for all of us, was really one of a kind. So that is what I really found, because we were thinking about science in the continent, research in the continent, what it means to be involved, what it means to collaborate, what it means to lead projects and other initiatives. But at the same time, the program allowed us to own it. I can easily bring it to my own experience, to my own particular work that I am doing, and also connect it. I can see that it's connected very much with someone who is doing, chemistry in another part of in another country, in another institution, or someone who is doing philosophy, in another part of the continent, in a different setting, institutional setting. So it's really incredible that a program could be, in a week's time, you can be able to create those meaningful connections. You can be able to create an experience that is very meaningful to each participant, in such a way that, at the end of the day, the person owns the experience and are very much motivated to do something about their work, and to motivated to connect with others. And having that type of experience, as I said, I have been into many, but that was the most impactful, and it has affected me and my work in many positive ways. I mean, many things, but one of the most fascinating things that I found to be very impactful, and which I also took, for the work that I continue to do, is the very fact that you get the whole experience, in the sense that we all have different ways of, different strengths, we have different ways of looking at things. So the experience of using painting to express connections, to explain about so many issues related to leadership, and to our experience of leadership, was one of the most fascinating things that I found, and I still found very useful. So the workshop, the fact that it's organized not just as a lecture or as a lesson, but rather everybody contributing at every step of the way, in different ways. So the fact that it's multifaceted in many ways, in the way that you learn, in the way that you contribute, in the way that you connect, is really incredible. And that has left a huge mark in the way I understand things. Because, as I mentioned earlier, sometimes one works better for this person than it doesn't for the other one. So everybody is able to get something that works for them. Everybody is able to shine on something that is very, that they are more inclined to. And so in a way that also means that it's so, the experience is so inclusive, so embracing, to the extent that everybody felt that ownership, relevance, and meaning on what they do, but on what they plan to do in the future. So this multifaceted way of experiencing and learning and contributing is what really stands out from the experience of the African Science Leadership Program. I mean, sometimes you can explain it, or at other times you may not. But I think the most fundamental way probably is in the way that I have become, how I grew up as a person, how I grew up as a researcher. I mean, it's obvious to see to myself, but also to my colleagues and to people who are around me. After that experience and the connections and the involvement, I really feel the work that I do is very meaningful and impactful. And you learn ways that to connect it with others. You learn ways of learning from others. You learn tools, you learn connections, you learn, there are these bits and pieces that happened over the years that really made you feel that the work that you do in academia, in research, as a scientist, is very useful and impactful. But it also requires a lot of collaboration and continuous learning. It requires being open to new things, to new ways of doing things. So in a way, I think I have become more collaborative, more open to collaborate with colleagues and with other people who are working on different things. So collaboration is, I think, very much key. I think that's one of the areas that I built some capacity, and then making connections with people, making connections with institutions. So I think it shows in many ways. It shows in many ways in the way that I have grown up, and also it shows in, someone has to feel assured and comfortable and meaningful, that the work that they do is meaningful. And in a way, so it made me also more comfortable that the work that we do has an impact, not necessarily immediately, but in a long term. And there are many others who do the same, which together can bring some kind of relevance to the work that we do, but also impact that is needed, much needed in the world that we're living today. Anyone can be a leader, insofar as they or he or she takes their work, their scientific work seriously. Seriously in the sense that, it could be using it in a classroom, or it could be using it in a research, a topic that you choose, a method that you choose, a connection that you create. I think it's one of the most meaningful work that we are engaged in as a researcher and as a teacher and as a scientist. So anyone who is based in Africa or who is based elsewhere from any background, but working on issues related to Africa, and Africa with all its connections, past and present, and tries to understand the people, the culture, and its history, its challenges. For me, is a science leader in the continent, but that work is taken very seriously, and that seriousness can be shown, in many ways. It's a call for me and for all of us to connect and to collaborate and to be open to learn from each other, to learn from others, but at the same time to also be very conscious, especially if you are based in Africa or in some of the places of the global south where knowledge is as political as it can get. Knowledge production is as political as it can get. So it's very important when you are based, in a region or in a culture or in a people where that hasn't been as equally represented as in some regions. It's very important to be conscious and deliberate on how our involvement, on how our contribution, contributes positively or negatively to that. So that sort of deliberate effort is needed. And for that, collaboration, openness, and connecting with the young upcoming generation, with all kinds of networks is very important, because each and every that article, that one lesson that you make in a classroom can really have a big impact on many ways. I don't think it's possible, but the closest I can get is yay.